Good evening, welcome to Sports Junkies. I'm Rick Rosen. We are live in Hobart Hall, and we have a Thanksgiving feast worth of topics today.
I'm Mark Spivak. You know, some would call it a cornucopia of coverage.
Oh, I like that, Mark. On tonight's show, the Giants and Jets find themselves in tight playoff races.
The BCS comes down to 3 teams from the same division.
And baseball gives out its major awards, but did the writers get it right?
All that plus NASCAR and more.
It's Sports Junkies.
It's live.
It's right now. Good evening, welcome to Sports Junkies. I'm Rick Rosen.
I'm Mark Spivak.
Mark, it's going to be a great week. Thanksgiving is right on the horizon. I can't wait.
We got the Harbaugh Bowl. I'm really excited for Jim Harbaugh and John Harbaugh to go at it.
Oh, Thursday's football is going to be insane. You got a great matchup in the NFC North. But before we get to Week 12 in all its glory, we had a crazy Week 11, both in college and pro. The Giants, of all teams, in the primetime special against the hated Philadelphia Eagles. Eli Manning trying to hold on to his elite status, and Vince Young filling in for Mike Vick and his broken ribs. VY tries to start it off early, going to look for Deshaun Jackson and find Prince Amukamara. Welcome to New York, the rookie from Nebraska. First interception in his first career game. Eli trying to answer back, going to look over the middle, set his feet, try to rifle one in, and he's going to be picked off by Jamar Chaney. He's going to get brought down by Jake Ballard. No score through the first quarter. Then Vince Young gets rolling in the red zone. He's going to look for Steve Smith, dragging over the middle, and this is what he did so well in New York before his knee surgery. Heads into the end zone. Eagles up 10-0. Eagles looking to add on more late in the third quarter. Vince Young looking for the back fade to Riley Cooper. Aaron Ross having a great season. Should be going to Hawaii at the end. Giants hold serve, now down just 7. Eli looking for some fourth quarter magic. He's going to find Victor Cruz. How big has he been in this season? Are you kidding me? But the Eagles would respond with an 18-play drive, culminating in this touchdown to Riley Cooper. Vince Young getting it done in the fourth. Giants would have just 2 minutes to drive the length of the field. They get inside the red zone until Eli Manning meets Jason Babin, and Jason Babin is not a friend of Eli Manning. That's going to end the game. Eagles take the win 17-10. They move up a game on the Giants in the NFC East race, which just got incredibly tight. And to talk about the effects, let's go to Mark Spivak. Take it away.
Thank you, Rick. I'm Mark Spivak, joined with Ryan Burns. Now, Ryan, the Giants game, they wanted to win this game, but clearly they lost to the Eagles, and this has a lot of playoff implications in the NFC East.
Yeah, it does. I mean, in the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about how the Giants starting off strong and every other NFC East team having a weak start is going to help the Giants a lot because their schedule gets so much tougher. They have the next 2 games against the Saints and the Packers, probably the toughest of the season, and they've been losing recently.
Right, and also 2 games coming up against the Cowboys, who they are now tied with for the NFC lead. Yeah. Now, to the game itself, Vince Young filling in for the injured Michael Vick. The Giants should have been licking their chops for this, for a quarterback who many felt was washed up, was even a bust. And he comes in and he leads a strong Eagles drive right at the end of the game. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, the Giants did get to him. They had 3 interceptions on the day, but let's face it, you can't have Vince Young, a guy who doesn't play a lot in the last couple of years, beat you like that. 23 for 36, 258 yards and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, the last one to Riley Cooper, the go-ahead touchdown with 2:45 left. But again, LaShawn McCoy had over 100 yards and a touchdown, so that's, again, on the Giants' rush defense. But the biggest part for this game with the Giants was they couldn't run the ball at all. Brandon Jacobs had 12 carries for 21 yards. That's not supposed to happen with the Giants team. You can't have the Eli Manning, their starting quarterback, throw 35 times and only make 18 completions.
Right, the rushing game really, really taking a hit. And in the last 2 games, with also the loss to the 49ers, there's been no rushing game. They've completely disappeared. 29 rushing yards total for this game for the Giants. And Eli Manning having another pedestrian game, 264 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Now, where does this leave the Giants?
Well, obviously, it seems like they've been going to more of a pass-oriented offense. If they can't run the ball, especially if Ahmad Bradshaw is out, Ware's not doing anything. Obviously, Jacobs has had his chances. He's a little bit on and off. And then we talk about Eli Manning throwing the ball a lot more. he's only targeting 2 guys. He's targeting Victor Cruz, who obviously had a huge day, 6 receptions, 128 yards and a touchdown, but he also had 10 targets. And another 8 targets went to Hakeem Nicks, who had another 3 receptions. So out of 18 targets between those 2 receivers, 9 receptions. So obviously Manning is only targeting these 2 guys. He's not going to Ballard. Manningham has been injured, so he's just having such a tough time trying to balance the offense when there's no running game.
They need the running game because you can't be a one-dimensional team. As you said, they're passing all the time, and they're going to 2 receivers. They need to be able to spread the ball out, but they also need to be able to run the ball. And on the defensive side of the ball, they're not stopping. What Vince Young was successful in doing is throwing the short ball.
Yeah.
He was 16 of 19 throwing the ball 10 or fewer yards. Now, do you think that this has anything to do with a lot of rookies starting on the defensive side of the ball, with Prince Amukamara coming out of injury and Mark Hertzlick, the cancer survivor from Boston College, also starting for them at linebacker?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with the defense being tired. Let's face it, if you're throwing the ball a lot more, Manning's not having as many completions. This Giants team only had possession for a little over 23 minutes. So if you can't run the ball and run the clock, you keep throwing passes, this team is going nowhere. The defense is going to go back out onto the field really quickly, not going to have enough time to get some rest, and then they're going to let up drives like that.
Right. Are the Giants making the playoffs here at this point?
No, I can't see it. They have the Saints, then they have Green Bay, and then they have Dallas. It's not going to happen.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Let's head over to Danielle.
Chicago Bears quarterback Jay Cutler had surgery on the thumb of his throwing hand after breaking it in Sunday's victory over the Chargers. Cutler broke it chasing down Antoine Cason on an interception return in the 4th quarter. Coach Lovie Smith insisted that he plans to have Cutler back in time for the playoffs. With Cutler out, the attention now turns to backup quarterback Caleb Haney. Over to Rick.
Thank you, Danielle. When we come back, we're going to switch it over to the AFC. The Jets having some trouble with the Tebow. You're watching Sports Junkies. We'll have more after the break.
Is your money keeping you up at night? You can sleep a lot easier when it's in bank accounts insured by the FDIC. In more than 75 years, no one has ever lost a penny of insured deposits. That's a lot safer than under your mattress. Visit Edie the Estimator at myfdicinsurance.gov. Then you can sleep well. Every pet comes with a unique set of hopes and dreams. And one wish shared by every new pet owner: a happy, healthy life together. Make that wish a reality with early and regular visits to your veterinarian. Vaccinations help protect your puppy or kitten from dangerous diseases. And regular exams help diagnose, treat, and prevent health problems before they become serious. Your veterinarian can also answer questions and offer helpful advice on training your new pet. See that your new pet grows up healthy and happy. Call your veterinarian today. This message is brought to you by the American Veterinary Medical Association and your local veterinarians.
In the animal kingdom, all smiles are not created equal, but they take what they get. Luckily, you don't have to settle for what nature gave you. You can turn to an orthodontist who has 2 to 3 years of specialized education beyond dental school. Orthodontists focus on correcting crooked teeth, misaligned jaws, and dental irregularities. Make the most of what nature gave you. Visit an orthodontist for a lifetime of healthy, beautiful smiles. For more information, visit braces.org.
Mark Sanchez looks to lead the New York Jets over the red-hot Broncos, who pick it up in the first. They're going for it on 4th and inches. Eric Smith and Jim Leonard say no to that. The defense was intense to start. Sanchez dumps off to Sean Green. He already had 10 rushes in the game, but he hurts his rib. X-rays were negative. He will be back next week, but he was not back for the entire game. Here we see Sanchez drop back. He finds Plaxico for a 20-yard gain into the red zone. And again, Sanchez drops back, doesn't see anybody open, finds Kyle Wilson. Sanchez had 11 straight completions on this drive, but he only went 24 for 40 for the completion of the game with a 67 QBR. Only touchdown for the Jets. Rookie running back Bilal Powell fumbles the ball. Somehow, someway, the right guard, Matt Slauson, finds the ball in the end zone. Touchdown Jets. They could put the game away in the third, and oh no. Andre Goodman, pick 6. It's 10-10. It's the fourth quarter, and ladies and gentlemen, it is Tebow time. Tebow on the all-out blitz. Runs left. I knew they were going to run. Everybody in the stadium knew he was going to run. He beats Eric Smith on the outside. He scores. Tebow is pumped. Denver is pumped. Elway is incredibly happy. And the Broncos beat the Jets 17-13. I am Eric Dolan. I'm joined here by Rob Wetham. Rob, crazy game. How did the Broncos do it?
The Jets got Tim Tebow'd. That's what happened. The new phrase, the new meaning of Tebow, they kept saying that Tebow, it was this, the pose or whatever. Getting Tebow'd is when somebody does something to you, you know they're going to do it and you can't stop it anyway. That's getting Tim Tebow.
I mean, that final drive alone, 7 rushes, 58 yards. He's a monster when the game's online, and he flat out wins. But let's talk about the Jets. That's
Absolutely.
what we're worried about. I don't know about you, but outside of the second half against Buffalo, I have not seen the Jets play a single quarter of stellar football. What's going on with them?
They just can't put it all together, man. Rex Ryan has been so boisterous and just so outgoing with all his predictions of Super Bowl this, Super Bowl that, and before the season everybody thought that that's what it was going to be, but as it turns out, offensive line problems, just problems with Mark Sanchez is just not turning out to be the quarterback that everyone thought he was going to be, Eric. Just not.
See, I'm not ready to jump on Sanchez. What you said, offensive line, you lose Mangold for a few games.
Right.
I think that the reason that the Jets aren't the Jets that we've luckily grown accustomed to is their running game. Green hasn't stepped up. Joe McKnight. He hasn't done anything either. They can't do the ground and pound that they want to do. Now, I'm not saying that all the blame is off Sanchez because, again, this game, he does have 11 straight completions. He does have that beautiful stretch in the third. But to go 24 for 40, 255, and the huge pick 6, that's a mistake that you cannot make. I don't care whose team you're on. I don't care what the game is. You can't make that mistake.
Eric, the fact of the matter is the Jets lost the turnover battle. They were not very good on third down. They didn't do what the Jets are accustomed to do, what we're accustomed to seeing from the New York Jets. They're just not doing what we're accustomed to seeing. The ground and pound game is gone. LaDainian Tomlinson out with a knee. Sean Green out with a rib. Now they got this kid Joe McKnight, he's not very big, but he's fast. But he just doesn't do the same thing.
Fast doesn't do ground and pound. Now, I have a question for you.
Right.
Did the Jets lose it or did Tebow win it?
Tebow won it. I mean, let's face the facts. Now that I think about it, it was really a combination of both because when you got the pick 6, Sanchez threw the pick 6 to tie the game, and then Tebow did win it at the end, though. I mean, let's face it, he went 95 yards, got it done.
Not many quarterbacks
it's
can
funny.
go 95 yards.
Rex Ryan, at the end of the game, he was really mad. He said if he could do it again, he wouldn't call that all-out blitz at the end against Tebow. He would have sat back in coverage and maybe played that run a little bit better. And, it's funny, after the game, Sanchez also said that if he could have that throwback, he would definitely take that pick 6 throwback.
Could, but that's not as far as I know, time machines aren't invented, and Sanchez lost that game. All right, thank you so much, Rob. I'm going to hand it over now to Danielle.
Former Michigan football head coach Rich Rodriguez is heading to the desert to coach the Arizona Wildcats. Arizona Athletic Director Greg Byrne posted a picture on Twitter yesterday of Rodriguez and his family all wearing Wildcat hats. Arizona fired head coach Mike Stoops last month after struggling to a 1-5 start. The Wildcats are currently 3-8.
Talking college football now with Eric Dolan. Rick Rosen, it's college football time. A couple weeks left in the season. The BCS is shaking up. It's computers versus coaches versus journalists, and nobody's happy.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, we had the game of the century. Apparently, we're having the game of next century, too, this Friday. 1 versus 3, LSU, Arkansas. It's going to be a huge game because the winner, if LSU finds a way to win this game, they're in the national championship, no questions asked.
The crazy thing about this is there's 3 teams in the nation that could possibly win the national championship. And not only do they all play in the SEC, they all play in the SEC West. And they've all played each other at one point this season. Now, LSU's got the most ridiculous road. They got to beat Arkansas. If they beat Arkansas, they're pretty much locked because they're undefeated. Nobody's touching them. Then they also have to go and play in the SEC championship against Georgia, which isn't going to be an easy game. It may take a little bit out of them. But at win or lose, I think they'll still be fine for that game.
Yeah. Now, you think LSU will hand it to Arkansas? Do you think LSU has the win over Arkansas?
I'm not getting there yet. I can't get there yet. I just think Arkansas right now, I'm talking national title implications of this game. Arkansas is the number 6 team in the nation right now, number 3 in the BCS. And they beating LSU, I don't see how that puts them over Bama. If they go to the SEC championship and absolutely dismantle Georgia, I might have to give a little bit of a vote just to base how close that LSU-Alabama game was. And if Arkansas could beat LSU by 2 touchdowns, this is a totally different conversation.
Yeah, exactly. I just think nobody's going to find a cure for the LSU offense. I think LSU is going to find a way. Thank you so much, Rick. Hand over now to Mark.
I think everyone is saying, let's break up the SEC West. A lot of talent over there. Don't go anywhere. Everyone at home, we're sports junkies. Don't go anywhere.
When I was first diagnosed with HIV, Cookie and I decided to fight this disease. Now we're here to urge you to stand with us in the fight against HIV.
In the U.S., about half of the new HIV cases have occurred among African Americans.
Get informed, get tested. Early detection can save your life. If you test positive, seek treatment from a doctor.
Go to WeStandWithMagic.com, get resources, and become a member today.
You can eradicate polio. You can promote peace. You can feed the hungry. You can help children do better in school. Because you can get involved with Rotary. Because Rotary believes that by working together, you can do anything. Learn more at Rotary.org.
I will keep dancing on point, even if it hurts.
My arm is killing me. I don't know if I can pitch another ball. But I'll just play through the pain anyway.
I have to do the big stunts. To look better than the other cheerleaders, our tosses are bigger.
My elbow really aches, but I've got to be better.
Don't tell them it hurts. They'll take you out of the game if you do. I have to push harder if I'm going to get a scholarship. I'm feeling dizzy, but I don't want to tell anyone.
Everyone's counting on me. I can't rest now.
Nearly 50% of all sports injuries sustained by middle and high school students are from overuse. Don't play through the pain. See your healthcare provider and follow their instructions for rest and recovery. Take the pledge. Become an advocate for sports safety. Visit StopSportsInjuries.org.
Ever lose one of these? Everyone has, except for people whose money is fully insured by the FDIC. Those depositors have never lost one penny in the 75 years of the FDIC. Good to know in times like these. So here's the question. Do you know if all your money is safe and sound?
Go to myfdicinsurance.gov
and click on Edie the Estimator.
Because the more you know,
the safer your money.
Welcome back to Sports Junkies. Milwaukee Brewers outfielder Ryan Braun was announced as the National League MVP this afternoon. Braun led the Brewers to the National League Central title in a 96-win season. Braun is the first Brewer to win the MVP award since Robin Yount in 1989. Matt Kemp of the Dodgers came in second. Yesterday, Detroit Tigers pitcher Justin Verlander took home the American League MVP award. Verlander was voted AL Cy Young last week and became the first pitcher to win both awards in the same season since Dennis Eckersley in 1992.
Rick Rosen here talking baseball with Ryan Burns. Good afternoon, Ryan. Thank you for being with us.
Good evening, Rick.
Big awards handed out in the major leagues this week. Yeah. Let's start first with the AL. Justin Verlander was the unanimous Cy Young, but not so many people thought he was going to be the first MVP since Eckersley. How did this affect you?
Well, obviously, it didn't affect me personally, but obviously, he deserved the MVP more than any other player. If you look at the other guys who got first-place votes, talking Jose Bautista, who played on Toronto, obviously had a great season.
Another great season.
Yeah, again, in a row, which a lot of people didn't think he would have. But again, it's Toronto, losing record, didn't do very well. The other guy, Jacoby Ellsbury, obviously, fantastic year. He had 30 home runs. For a guy like him who's usually average hitter and a speed guy and defense guy, that's huge. But again, Red Sox did not make the playoffs. For Justin Verlander, when you go 24-5, .240 ERA, and your WHIP is under 1. That's walks plus hits per innings pitched. That gets you an MVP.
Thank you for explaining WHIP, Mr. Burns. Now, the thing about Verlander is, in the time where he was his most dominant during the regular season, the Tigers weren't very good. They weren't winning the other 4 days when the other pitchers were pitching. Yeah. I'm drawing a blank on every Tiger pitcher
Max
besides
Scherzer
him right now.
was
But
an up and
Verlander
down
was a
guy.
monster. Doug Fister did not have a very consistent season.
Neither did Max Scherzer, obviously the flamethrower that they got from Arizona.
Max Scherzer is exactly who I'm trying to think of, and he did not have a consistent season. And I think that when you have someone like Verlander who can get in and win, I think that's got to go leaps and bounds, especially because they made the playoffs.
Again, yes, they did make the playoffs, and like you said, he was pitching fantastic at a time where they really needed it. Miguel Cabrera was not carrying this team at that time, although he was doing really well. And again, that was a time where the Indians were doing really well in the Central. You know, the Twins weren't doing anything at all. The White Sox were kind of going up and down. So at that time, the Tigers really needed that kind of performance.
Let's switch it over to the MLB accomplishing its labor agreement. Yeah. A huge step for baseball because they're not going to have any of the trouble that the NFL or the NBA have. Talk about that.
They got this done so much earlier than they really needed to. Obviously, they wanted to get things done. A lot of big things in this new labor deal. It's a 5-year deal, so it's going to be the first time in a while that we've had labor peace in Major League Baseball for over 20 years. Obviously, we had the strike in 1994, which cut the season in half. But a lot of big things in this. Blood testing for HGH. Now, it's in the spring training and then during the offseason, not during the middle of the season yet, because obviously blood testing messes up with players while they're working out and all that stuff. Adding a wild card team to each league, that's huge. And then moving the Astros to the AL West in 2013.
So much to talk about. So much to talk about between now and the next baseball season about the MLB labor agreement. We have a statement from Bud Selig. He said this. Let's take a look.
I believe that this 5-year agreement will continue the remarkable popularity and surge that baseball has been on.
So let's go to Mark Spivak. Take it away.
Now over to the NASCAR track. Homestead Miami Speedway was the home for one of the most dramatic finishes in NASCAR Sprint Cup history as Tony Stewart took the crown in the final race of the season. At the beginning of the race, only 3 points separated chase leader Carl Edwards from Tony Stewart. With 33 laps to go, Stewart took the lead with Edwards at second. Stewart would not give up the lead and took his 3rd Sprint Cup crown and his first as a driver/owner. The Sprint Cup Series will return in February for the Daytona 500. Now, everybody at home, don't go anywhere. Sports Junkies is coming right back with the Eliminator. We'll be right back.
Massive earthquake has rocked the city. West Metro disaster. This region has ever witnessed.
When a disaster strikes, time is a killer. The hours following are critical. The UN Central Emergency Response Fund jumpstarts relief efforts, which saves lives. Help us help in time. Donate now at rapiddisasterrelief.org.
Max, are you in here?
Turn off the lights.
Sorry.
I'm saving energy, helping the environment.
Where are you?
Make a left. No, the other left. My pizza box collection.
Ow!
Hey, I don't have a cat. Watch out for the...
Max, there's an easier way to help the environment, and it won't be such a pain in the neck.
Take public transportation. Go green. Go public. A message from the public transportation systems across the country.
see that happen.
If you see abuse or neglect, learn what you can do at BeHumane.org.
Welcome back to Sports Junkies. Sidney Crosby returned to action last night for the Pittsburgh Penguins. He ended up with a 4-point night, including 2 goals and 2 assists, as the Penguins took care of the Islanders 5-0. Crosby has been sidelined since January 5th with concussion-like symptoms. He said he felt no reported symptoms, and he should be fine for the rest of the season. Good news for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Great news for the Pittsburgh Penguins. A strong hockey team this year, and they need their captain back.
They need their captain back. You know what we need back? Some eliminator picks.
Some eliminator time?
You want to send it around?
I think I'm ready to do it.
Oh, it's eliminator time. Tell me who you got.
I am taking Steelers over the Chiefs. Big Ben is great, and I'm sorry, Jay, but the Chiefs make the Colts look good.
I got Green Bay over Detroit. Packers are undefeated. Seriously, shall I say more?
Boom. I got 2 picks for you, actually. I'm taking Indianapolis to get their first win of the season. And I'm taking Green Bay to get their first loss of the season with Detroit.
I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens over Rob Wetham's San Francisco 49ers. Sorry, man. Alex Smith is not going to keep this up.
Man, I thought I was crazy.
Oh, my goodness. 2 picks, Mr. Wetham. Who are you? I'm taking the Detroit Lions because Daniel's picked the Packers 3 times already.
And I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens in the Harbaugh Bowl against the 49ers. Big playoff implications in this game.
I wanted that football. If you want to make an eliminator pick, get at us on Twitter. And if you last longer than us, you get lunch on Mark Spivak. That's a fact.
And email, we are on Gmail.
Yeah, you want to give him the Gmail?
Why don't you give him the Gmail?
I think you know it better than I do.
sportsjunkies6@gmail.com.
I'm so surprised you knew that. Okay, you can also find us on Facebook at WPTV/SportsJunkies. Like us, get at us, we'll get at you back.
Was it a slash or a dash?
It's a dash.
It's a dash.
It's a dash. Mark, what's your Twitter?
My Twitter is @MarkSpivs.
Well, the real, it's @WP.
Oh, you're asking for
Junkies.
you're asking for the Sports Junkies Twitter. I thought we were talking about my
Everything
personal
else
Twitter
is
because I love to
seconded.
tweet.
I love to tweet too. Tweet at me sometime.
We'll tweet together.
What just happened? And also, we are on Ustream because if you're not watching this on campus, you're watching on Ustream. Check this link regularly for all the live programming on WPTV, including our semi-annual telethon, December 8th. For everyone here at Sports Junkies, Ryan Burns, Rob Wetham, Danielle Mead, Eric Dolan, my boy here, Mark Spivak, I'm Rick Rosen. Have a great night. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you next week. This is Sports Junkies. Let me get that ball. Woo!